Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Techwood Solutions here with another video. I'm so happy to hear that so many of you guys enjoyed the previous top 3 oversold stocks, and this is why we brought it back with the nice little whiteboard in the background. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 stocks that are also oversold. This does not mean that they are the best stocks to invest in right now, because we have seen it before where something might be oversold, but it can still continue to sell off, which is the whole idea that we talk about our position size, right? It's just that a lot of tech stocks have reported earnings, a lot of stocks have missed earnings or have either just not met expectations, and because of that, a lot of those stocks are dropping, as well as the overall NASDAQ market is dropping, driving down the price on those stocks, which for those that are not already invested in those stocks, are presented with a lot of good deals. But I really hope that throughout this video, you don't even just stop here. I hope that even just one out of the 3 stocks we talk about, if it meets your criteria, you can add it to your watch list and follow up with it when it makes sense. But let's go ahead and get started. The first one that I want to talk about is ticker symbol SHOP. One of the things that you guys will see is as soon as you guys look at the 6-month chart or do a 180-day 4-hour analysis, is that the support level as of right now, it's not a cheap stock, it's $1,100 a share. It has a resistance level of $1,300. You guys might be like, Ricky, that's just a really expensive stock. I might just want to trade a lower cap stock. It's not about the dollar amount that's important. It's about the percentage that it offers, the margin. And that margin is about 18% if it were to go from its support to its resistance level. And the way that I would do this is I would buy a very small position size, because as we're seeing, the NASDAQ market is still dropping. The overall tech market is still pulling on back. And we don't know if it's going to continue to drop. Our job as investors are not to predict the future, but to simply prepare for it. And the way that I best do this is not by going all in. I mean, I guess you can. There's so many different ways on how you can approach the market, but it's not about buying the dip and going all in all at once. Why? Well, what if the market continues to sell off? This is where you might become an emotional mess, right? Especially if you don't tolerate loss very well. This is why it's so important to watch your position size. If you take a fraction, 10%, right? An example I can give you is, if I guess this is a bad example because this stock is $1,100, but let's say the stock is less than $100 a share. If you have $1,000 in your trading account and you only buy $100 worth of that stock, that is 1/10, therefore 10% of your account. So if it continues to sell off, you don't become an emotional mess because the dollar amount invested is so minute. And again, that's the idea that I'm trying to share with you. Do it with a dollar amount in which you can tolerate. Now, my position size would be different if it was already indicating signs of an uptrend. If we're getting confirmation of an uptrend and it's beginning to show signs of growth, then of course, taking a much larger position size makes sense. Let's go ahead and move on to the second stock, and that is ticker symbol AMD. A lot of you guys have seen AMD has already reported earnings. We have seen it pull back, and it has a support level at $75 a share. It has a previous resistance level, not all-time highs, but previous resistance level at $90 a share. So with this is 15% margins. It's not crazy margins, but it's something that I personally find attractive to one of the leading manufacturers for microprocessors as of right now. They have like swept the floor in comparison to something like Intel, right? That has kind of like fallen off. One of the things that I also want to talk about, of course, is position size. Everyone likes to talk about top stocks that they want to invest in or are investing in, but never do it with a dollar amount that makes sense. You want to have enough money in the stocks that you see value in at those good prices, but not so much money that if it continues to sell off, that you become an emotional mess. So you guys can see how much I'm emphasizing the idea of position size, because it's great to pick up on good deals, because things are oversold. But just like we said before, things that are oversold do not necessarily mean that they are the best buys right now, because they can continue to sell off. So I'm just thinking of worst case scenario, right? Let's make sure that we set proper alerts to wait for proper confirmation, and then that's when I plan to average up into my position size when the actual direction is actually in my favor. And the last one that we're going to be talking about is Etsy. Etsy reporting earnings, and it has dropped this past week alone over 14%, and I want to show it to you. All right, so here's my breakdown on Etsy. So Etsy is ticker symbol ETSY. It has a current support level at 160, and the reason I say 160 as of right now, as of today, it was still selling off. So this is why I can't stress enough. Just because we're talking about these stocks or just because anyone is talking about any stocks does not make it a good buy just because it's oversold. I can't stress that enough, as I've made that mistake so many times, and I'm sure you guys can agree. When something is oversold, yes, it could be considered something that you might want to watch, but it doesn't mean that you have to buy it right now, which is why, again, I'm stressing the idea of position size. It has a previous resistance level at $220 a share. That is a profit potential from 160 to 220 of 35% margins at least. And we're not even talking about all-time highs for Etsy, which would put it at 250, which would put it at over 42% profit potential for a full recovery if it were to do that. But as of right now, Etsy is still selling off, and we can't expect it to completely change direction. And this is why we take into consideration our position size. Of course, if Etsy begins to indicate signs of an uptrend and it begins to break above 180, $200 a share, if the direction's in my favor, I'm gonna wanna add more to my position size, maybe 20, 30, 40%, leading up to when it becomes overbought, and then I begin to lock in profits. But the idea that we always want to share with you is ignore the 3 stocks that we talk about if you don't see value in any of them. The thing that I'm trying to express with these videos are that there are so many stocks right now, quality companies, Amazon, Twitter, that are reporting earnings, and due to either their earnings reports or the NASDAQ market, it's driving the price down right now. And it's not about trying to buy the stocks now to make the most money now, but what can you invest in today that your future self will thank you for? That's the idea. So these stocks are just really a foundation in which you can build off of, right? They're very selective stocks, and there's so many out there. I just want to make sure that you do your part, that while these stocks are reporting earnings and they are pulling on back, and while the deals are present, that you do your part in taking advantage of the ones that make the most sense to you. And you can comment those stocks down below. At the end of the day, there are so many different ways on how you can make money in the stock market. These are just very few stocks that are, in my opinion, a little bit on the oversold side, but of course, it does not mean that they have to recover right away. I would not mind putting in a couple of thousands of dollars into these stocks because of my account size and because of how I plan to incrementally invest in them. And that's what makes sense to me. So make sure that whatever stocks you decide to invest in, that there are stocks that you actually see value in, and that you do it in a way in which you can tolerate, that they don't have to recover right away, but that you can tolerate some form of movement, right? Setting your future self up for success. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, we'd appreciate the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we have an absolute free Facebook group that if you're new to trading, if you're new to the stock market, and you want to stay connected, over 312,000 members. It's free. It's the first link in the description, and it's a great way to connect with like-minded people. As well as, if you would like to see me trade live as soon as Monday at Market Open, we'll see you for our live trading session, and that's that second link down in the description. Until next time, like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.